Countess Elizabeth Bathory de Esqued, known as the Blood Countess, and Countess Dracula, is a Hungarian noblewoman who is an alleged serial killer. In the year 1610, Bathory and 4 of her servants are accused of torturing and murdering hundreds of girls and women between 1590 and 1610. While some call it a witch hunt, others say the proof is in the pudding. Let's walk through the Countess's disturbing story. Hi there, my name is Misha. Welcome to All Things True Crime. Welcome back if you're a regular. If you enjoy this video, please remember to like it, share it, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss my next video. And then ding the bell, that way you will get notified the next time I upload. That's All Things True Crime. It's truly chilling. Countess Elizabeth Bathory de Esqued, I'm sure I botched that, but whom I will just call Bathory for this video, is from the family of Bathory, a Hungarian noble family of the Gukleg clan. This family rises to significance in Central Europe. During the late Middle Ages or late medieval period, they hold high military, administrative, and ecclesiastical positions in the Kingdom of Hungary. In the early modern period, the Bathory family brings forth several princes of Transylvania, 1 king of Poland, and 1 grand duke of Lithuania. The Bathorys can be traced back to 2 Swabian brothers, Gut and Kalad. Swabia is a region in southwestern Germany. It's believed that they immigrated to Hungary during the reign of King Peter, so sometime between, 1038 and 1046. There are 2 branches of the Bathory family. Elizabeth comes from the younger branch, the Bathory of Esqued. Bricius has 2 sons, John and Luke. The elder branch of the family descends from John, the younger from Luke. Okay, enough of that. Just a brief history lesson for some context. So Elizabeth Bathory, or Bathory, as I choose to call her, is born in 1560 on a family estate in the Kingdom of Hungary. Her childhood is mostly spent at the castle. Her father was a baron and her mother a baroness. Bathory is the niece of the King of Poland. She has several siblings. She is born into a religious home, is taught Latin, German, Hungarian, and Greek. Obviously, they are a wealthy family with a prominent social rank. As a child, Bathory suffers from seizures, probably epileptic seizures. At the time, epileptic seizure symptoms are diagnosed as falling sickness, which is great, not really, since treatments include rubbing the blood of someone who doesn't suffer from falling sickness onto the lips of the person that does suffer, or giving the sufferer a mix of the non-sufferer's blood and a piece of skull, just as their seizure is ending, or giving them the blood of a decapitated man. Okay, enough of that. Poor girl. Not just because she suffers from an illness that society doesn't understand and can't treat, but also for having to taste and drink blood and perhaps eat skull. Okay, yikes. Okay. Some believe during her formative years, Bathory is trained by her family and the family's officers to be cruel, and this partially explains her later serial killer cruelty. Some stories go that as a child she witnesses her family's officers using brutal punishments on people, while other stories add that some family members entrusted to her teach her are themselves involved in Satanism and witchcraft, and so those were taught to her as well. These are just unsubstantiated stories, but would help explain her later behavior. Who knows? Another unsubstantiated and disputed story, but interesting, is one in which Bathory gets knocked up by a peasant boy and gives birth at age 13. The family gives the child away to a local woman that they trust, and the child is taken into Romania. Evidence of this comes up way after her death, but only by rumors that are spread by peasants, so it is disputed. It's very interesting, though. In 1573, at age 13, and after the whole potential pregnancy baby giveaway thing, Bathory is engaged to Count Ferenc Nadasdy. His family is a major Hungarian aristocratic family. As such, it is a political arrangement, basically. The two are wed 2 years later, which results in combined land ownership in both Transylvania and Hungary. The Count's wedding gift to Bathory is a castle his mother gave him. This castle will come back up in a bit. Castle of Szeged or something. I don't know. In 1578, 3 years into their marriage, the Count becomes chief commander of the Hungarian troops, and he leads them in war against the Ottomans. During this time, Bathory manages business affairs, the family's multiple estates, is responsible for the Hungarian and Slavic people, provides medical care during the Long War, and is charged with the defense of her husband's estates. So, she's busy during this time. Threat of attack by the Ottomans was significant, as various villages and other areas had been plundered by them in the past. Bathory intervenes multiple times on behalf of destitute women, sometimes women whose husbands become POWs, and one woman whose daughter is raped and impregnated. She seems like an organized, super supportive, compassionate, team player, very intelligent, capable woman, for sure, but that right there gives her that end to those destitute women, being there to protect and provide medical care, perhaps gives her the connection she needs, the large numbers of women during the wartime, that need help. Husbands are gone, mom and daughters are away, this perhaps is where she gets her victims. I don't know. Bathory and the Count have a daughter born in 1585 named Anna. Their other known children include another daughter born in 1590, yet another daughter born in 1594, a son born in 96, and a final child, another son born in 1598. Stories say they have another son, but it can't be confirmed, and since he isn't included in her will, it would seem he died young or didn't exist. It seems they had another son. This one did die as an infant. So. The Count dies on January 4th, 1604, at the age of 48. Not sure what the illness is, but in 1601 it first manifests as severe pain in his legs, which progresses to debilitating pain, which eventually renders him partially disabled. He is unable to ever fully recover, and in 1603 becomes permanently disabled. He and Bathory are married for 29 years when he passes. Before he dies, he entrusts Bathory and his heirs to a powerful Hungarian magnate who eventually serves as the Palatine of Hungary. This guy will lead the investigation into Bathory's crimes here coming up. So, dun dun. Around 1602, 1604 time frame, rumors of Bathory's atrocities have spread throughout the entire kingdom. As a result, a Lutheran pastor, Istvan Magyari, makes a public complaint and one at the court in Vienna. In 1610, King Matthias II assigns that same Hungarian magnate, Bathory's husband, entrusted her and his heirs to the Palatine of Hungary to officially investigate these claims. The Palatine immediately orders 2 notaries to begin collecting evidence. It's March 1610, and by October, they have 52 witness statements. And then by 1611, that number has risen to over 300. It is believed that Bathory begins by torturing and murdering daughters of the lesser gentry, which gentry are like well-born, genteel, well-bred people of high social class. Sounds fancy. But lesser fancy, still gentry, but just not top-notch gentry. Okay. Anyway, so she starts by murdering the daughters of the lesser gentry, who are sent to her women's quarters by their parents to learn proper etiquette. She uses multiple forms of torture on all of these girls and women. Some of the witnesses say relatives didn't make it out of her quarters after sent there to learn etiquette. Others claim they saw evidence of torture of dead bodies, some of which ended up being buried in proper graves while others were buried in unmarked graves. And I mean, when they looked at dead bodies, they saw evidence of torture on the bodies, not evidence of dead bodies being tortured. That's just weird. I'm kidding, right? It's all crazy. So by December 12th, 1610, the investigation is at the point where officials agree that Bathory is responsible and should be imprisoned and her estate distributed. On December 30th, 1610, Thurzo, which is that Palatine guy, travels to Bathory's castle and arrests her and 4 of her servants as they are accused of being her accomplices. Thurzo claims in a letter to his wife to have found 1 dead girl and 1 still alive when he showed up unannounced at Bathory's and arrested her. There are a few different stories here, but it seems that he shows up while she's having dinner, and he busts her in front of all of her guests. Some say he found her covered in blood and in the act of torture, but the overwhelming majority of stories say she was eating dinner. Thurzo meets with Bathory's son Paul and two son-in-laws to discuss how to move forward. Her family rules Transylvania, and they want to keep her property, which was at risk of being taken back by the crown as a result of her actions. Initially, the plan is that Bathory will be sent to a convent, but as the story of all that she did traveled and spread, they have to change plans and instead decide to confine her to the castle for the rest of her life. Most witnesses testified that they heard accusations from others but didn't witness it firsthand. Since her 4 accused servants confessed while being tortured, no less, their confessions are a little shaky. They're complete garbage and not credible at all. So the king orders the servants to be executed after they confess under torture. 2 of them have their fingers ripped off with red-hot pincers and then are burned alive. Due to the young age of one of the servants and the belief that he was less involved, he is treated to a compassionate execution, simply beheaded. Then his body is burned. Another servant initially escapes but is captured and burned alive. The final one receives a life sentence since it is believed that she was also abused by the others. Given the time these murders are committed, authorities never retrieved any hard evidence against Bathory or her servants. All accusations are based on rumors. Typically in this time period, complaints are written against anyone who does even the smallest thing wrong, and no complaints were ever written about her aside from the pastor. So, now given her nobility, it's not really surprising. Also if rumors are that she tortured and murdered girls, I'd imagine that people would be less likely to go up against her. During her 2 trials, witness testimonies vary in the number of victims' lives that she took, but the highest came in at 650. Rumor is the servant girl saw this number written in Bathory's private murder book. The claim was never verified and the book was never found, so who knows? I'd say someone that powerful has help from law enforcement and court officials. Not really hard to bury evidence. Also, King Matthias owed her a great debt, which was disappeared, was written off when she's arrested, so perhaps there was motive there, I don't know. Nevertheless, on January 25th, 1611, Thurzo writes to King Matthias and informs him Bathory has been captured and confined to her castle. She is only confined for about 3.5 years, then she dies at 54. Some say she was confined to a brick room, others say that she was able to move around freely and unhindered in the castle, more similar to what we would consider like house arrest. About 4 months before her confinement, she leaves all of her possessions to her children. In the days leading up to her death, she signs the Will of Sorts, in which all of her estates, land, and possessions are distributed to her children. On August 20th, 1614, in the evening, she complains to one of her guards that she is cold. He dismisses her and tells her to go lay down. She goes to sleep and never wakes up. She's buried on November 25th, 1614. Some say due to the villagers' hostility towards her, her body is moved to her birth home and interred at the Bathory family crypt. The location of her body is unknown today, but believed to be buried deep in the church area of the castle. The church and castle bear no discernible markings of her grave. Seems like her preferred methods of torture ranged from piercing victims with pins and needles, inserting nails underneath fingernails, whipping them, stabbing with scissors, biting until blood appears, smearing them with honey, and then allowing insects to bite them, taking them outside in the winter and throwing buckets of water on them. Well, that's creepy. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, share it, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Next week, we're going to learn all about Jack Unterweger, an Austrian serial killer who was convicted of life in prison for murdering one woman, then was paroled after a huge campaign that included writers, artists, journalists, and politicians. Once released, he became a minor celebrity, hosting television shows and working as a reporter. Within months of his release, though, he resumed murdering, eventually being convicted of 9 more murders and is suspected of murdering an additional 3. Tune in next time to hear this guy's unique and interesting story, right here on All Things True Crime. It's truly chilling. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe.